The idea of separation of church and state in our country has been interpreted as you should not have anything to do with the religion, should not have anything to do with the state. But that may have not been, that lest religion should, heaven forbid, enter into any decisions that are made inside the state. Yet that may be looking at the thing from the wrong end of the telescope as far as the initial intent and idea was, because there was an idea that the state should not interfere in religion and should set religion free. Now, the introduction of separation of church and state as a principle in the United States, even though there's a little bit of ambiguity about the application of it in certain respects, so that the idea of the American civil religion existing and so forth could be used to call into question the actual sincerity of application of the separation of church and state. Yet, this is the great, unique contribution of the United States to the religion in the world, which is scanted and overlooked because traditionally we have interpreted this separation of church and state to mean that religion should be completely excluded from the public sphere and there should be no discussion of it whatsoever. And it's only within the last 30 years that they've lightened up on that and said in public schools we can teach about religion now. So we should teach something about religion, but of course not preaching it, but we ought to have some mention of religion as part of the scope of human existence. Otherwise, how can the children, understand the world? Because religion is such a big part of the world. And the separation of church and state appears in the United States to have had the twin effects of volunteerism and denominationalism. Volunteerism means that nobody in America is identified with a religion unless they actually participate in it. So consequently, church membership is much higher than in European countries, and religious practice is much higher than in European countries. And as an industrial country, the United States stands out as being far more practicing of religion than the others are by percentage. So that's one effect. Then on the other hand, and that could also owe to the fact that in other places where there's an established church, and there are still remains of establishment in many European countries, people may feel, well, let the priest do it. They may feel, well, the religion doesn't really belong to me, it belongs to the state. Or my religion is when I'm privately praying to God, but apart from that, the whole religion is something belonging to the state. Whereas here, religion belongs to the people, and the fact that it does is emphasized then by this separation. So that has a major, massive impact. And this is especially poignant when you think of Roger Williams and the separation of church and state, the lack of establishment of religion in Rhode Island when it was founded in 1636, which actually is Roger Williams' unique contribution to history in the world, to religion in the world. And Roger Williams himself was very religious. In fact, he was a kind of what would be described today as a type of religious fanatic. But on this particular point, he was quite adamant. No establishment of a particular church in Rhode Island. Everyone is welcome to come here. And during his very own life, the Jews arrived in Newport, Rhode Island, and began to flourish there, practicing Judaism there. And as an earnest of that, what he meant was not just to be applied to Christians only. The Jews were welcome, and they didn't have to pay any special tax either as they arrived there.